days. The halachot that we were discussing yesterday was the introduction to the rules of Muktze on Shabbat, that the Chachamim prohibited handling certain types of items in certain situations because of this overall all-encompassing prohibition called Muktze, called something that is set aside to not be used for Shabbat. So when it comes to utensils, there's two main overarching categories. There's a utensil that is primarily used for something that is mutar on Shabbat, that is allowed on Shabbat, and then there's utensils that their primary function is for something that's not allowed on Shabbat. In Hebrew, this is called kli shemelachto leheter and kli shemelachto leisur. Kli means a utensil, melachto means its primary function, its primary usage is heter, is something that's permitted, or kli shemelachto leisur, something that is prohibited. These are two categorically different types of categories and have very different halachot when it comes to muktze. So today we will discuss, and for a few weeks, probably a few days, we will discuss the rules of kli shemelachto leheter. The rule by kli shemelachto leheter is I'm allowed to move it. Now, what's an example of such a thing? So let's take simple examples: a bowl, a plate, a cup, a fork, a knife. All these types of things, all these utensils, are all called kli shemelachto leheter. Their main primary function is to be used to eat. Eating is not something that's asur to do on Shabbat, and therefore it is a kli shemelachto leheter. It's a utensil for something that is permissible. Since that, now it's true, you could use a knife for something that's not permissible. You could use anything for something that's not permissible, but it's not its primary intent or primary purpose of its instrument, of its usage. So kli shemelachto leheter, the rule is you're allowed to move it for the sake of using the object. You're allowed to move it for the sake of needing the place of the object. You're allowed to move it for the sake of protecting the object so it won't get ruined. For basically many categories of things that the Chachamim said you're allowed to move a kli shemelachto leheter. What is fascinating is there's a bit of a misconception that everything is mutar, and that is not the case. The Chachamim did say something that does not have a constructive purpose, and those types of reasons you're not allowed to move even a kli shemelachto leheter if there is no constructive purpose involved in the moving of the instrument. It's not for the protection, it's not for the space, it's not for the usage of the kli. So then you would actually not be allowed to move even something that is a kli shemelachto leheter. And B'ezrat Hashem tomorrow we'll get into more details about that as well. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen.